Connecting. Okay. The This time around, I didn't forget. It was like an instantaneous memory that should be trying to send this to the Discord, I guess. Uh, Announcement. I wish that what worked, man. It would be so much easier that way. But it doesn't, so uh, there is nothing to do about that. What is this here? Should I? Okay. Alright, there we go. The most amazing thing to what? Okay. Anyway, to remember that I should try to say, yeah, I might have gone live, and such. So, anyway, here we are, another day. I think. Is it another day? Has it been 24 hours? I think not. Like, how much has it been since the last time? Like, 20 or something like that. I started incredibly late also. I shouldn't even have started that late, but yeah. I procrastination, my beloved. I not yeah. I did forget. I was like, no, I didn't forget. I did forget. Anyway, here we are. That's the only point here, I guess. That here we are. Not really anything different, but also audio level. How does this sound? Ah, yeah, this is fine. So everything is done basically. I don't know. I At the very least here we are. I guess that's satisfying enough. But now properly we don't have any particular goal today. I don't think there is that much to say in a sense. I I haven't thinking about it. It's always something that I kinda struggle to think about. It's the issue of how many things there are that are worth talking about and whatnot. And I think it's interesting to see that there are so many ideas that one wants to discuss in any way, but the simply the simple matter of trying to choose which one topic you're going to cover makes it difficult. I don't think it's impossible to properly discuss anything. It's more like you simply forget that you can choose something that you find interesting, and you end up diverting from the point of going for anything that you truly like. So it's more annoying than anything. The realization of maybe I could have discussed something else. Maybe I could have tried to talk about this one particular thing. Um, I don't think it's something inherently bad, but it's a rather an issue that appears too many times. In most cases, at the very least, I, at the very least, in a very particular case, not. I was kind of talking about general. In a more particular case, I find it interesting that here it can happen that I can certainly choose anything that I want to talk about, but there is this common issue of people not being truly not aware. It isn't like you're not aware of what you wanna discuss in any matter. It's simple. Yeah, it's something more simple along the lines of maybe the different things that I wanna mention are not all truly interesting in a way. I just don't find it in me to discuss any of those things, and it sadly is complicated, I guess, to choose anything like that. But in the end, in the end, even the mere act of not going with anything in particular is good enough. I think it's it's something weird. It's the possibility of you can talk about whatever, whichever thing you want, and it can all fly, so to speak. You just need to be interested in doing so. But in most cases, it's just a complication out of do I really like what I'm truly trying to talk about and what I I like it because we don't really move that much here. In that sense, it doesn't truly mean anything new. Or yeah, I'm not saying anything that I haven't said before in terms of why are you talking about something that you don't like? Perhaps because you haven't stopped to consider which things do you like properly and what things do you want to even try and talk about. So it makes it more complicated to choose anything to focus yourself on. That's when the whole task of deciding for a topic becomes complicated. Yes. But it's not something new once and it's something that most people in many cases already knows. You might want to try and say something or want to particularly focus on anything, but you find it hard to do so because it simply happens in that way. You cannot, you don't give yourself the chance to even discuss internally, so to speak, if anything is going to be worth bringing up or not. And the continuous discussion of, yeah, this one thing might be interesting and this other thing might be completely meaningless to mention doesn't happen. And it's yet again nothing new. The discussion of what do I wanna personally bring up and which things do I wanna cover ends up being a more complicated discussion just because the person cannot truly choose something that they like if they don't have time to even process which things they might find interesting and whatnot. So it's in that sense not. I say complicated too much. It isn't complicated. It's simple like that, but it's annoying. I think that's the proper nature of the thing, of the matter, so to speak. It's annoying to see that you are given the possibility to do whatever you want with so many things. And even in personal conversations, that's what I was thinking about also. Even in personal conversations, you don't have the possibility of choosing what you want to discuss. In many cases, not because there is literally nothing to think about, but rather because there is no moment to consider it, which things are worth considering in general. It's the act of I don't know. I think I might be using the term incorrectly, but the meta analysis of what is being discussed in many cases doesn't happen. And yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be, in this case, I don't think it's particularly wrong, but it shouldn't be something that people dislikes completely. It, it should be something more desired, I guess, more interesting, because it is by itself interesting. The possibility of we can have a conversation in which we set a particular goal. And after having this, I don't know, maybe it takes, I don't know, half an hour, 3 hours, even if it were to take 5 hours, as long as it can happen, as long as it can exist, the possibility to direct the point of the relations, yeah, the relation that you hold with someone else, it's a useful conversation, even if in the moment it doesn't feel that nice. And in most cases, it doesn't happen. It's like a complicator. In that sense, I feel like complication is born out of the fact that we don't really like to say, yeah, maybe we need to sit down and agree what the fuck do we want to say, even, we don't, we don't want to spend time bothering others with seeing what might be the goal that we are trying to reach with the things that we say and the things that we do. So we constantly, even if it means that in the end we are knowing one another by not properly giving ourselves the chance to even stop for a second in that way, we will rather deal with the consequences of. And here we are, nothing, not just interesting, or, yeah, nothing, not just useful, nothing interesting is being said. And the possibility of having a nice time ends up being wasted because we are in the complete void of the indecision, I guess, but we cannot really get anywhere. Seems it seems like a worse fate to try and stop for a second and see where things might move forward than to properly accept. Yeah, maybe we need to sit down. Maybe we need to establish even for a second that we neither of us likes to waste their time, or no party that is involved in this conversation likes to do nothing, something that leads to nowhere. So it might be in the best of our interests to set something that we both can say is of common interest. It should be an obvious statement, and it should be something that we obviously both want to have, but we cannot do it actively because if we are to recognize that what we were doing before wasn't useful, we will have to deal with it. I don't know. I think it's not just dealing with the consequence of realizing that you were at fault before. It's something more along the lines of I just want to do the right thing, but I don't want to realize that what I was doing before wasn't the right thing, even if it wasn't bad, so to speak. I was doing something simply useless, and just because it was useless, I have to accept that I was moving nowhere and I was accomplishing nothing in that sense. So I would rather sit here and try to find something that seems interesting in a way in which I can declare by myself that what I have found as a conclusion is somewhat better, but to actively engage in this type of conversation is almost impossible. You are not only confronting somebody else with the reality of, yeah, what we were doing before was meaningless. Can we focus, reorient ourselves? Can it be a possibility, man? Can we have that pleasure of perhaps we take a second to consider? Perhaps it is a possibility that we try to somewhere else, or not somewhere else. We try to get to somewhere even instead of just sitting here every single day and never doing anything. We can try to aim somewhere, and we can at the very least try to see if it is possible for us to reach that place or somewhere different, but anywhere at all. That will be so much better than to remain in this place. And I think it shouldn't be that surprising. The conclusion is, in most cases, it simply happened that the comfort of the routine of discussing nothing is better. It shouldn't be surprising. It's the logical conclusion. I find it nobody wants to say or talk about things that might seem unpleasant, not because they are of that nature, but rather because you're in the process giving up the already existing non-suffering that existed in your life. You are integrating some part of a discourse that seems to be at least, if not healing, if not capable of calming you down, so to speak, something that seemed not capable of damaging you. So to give up that already existing thing for the possibility of something that might potentially be useful is rather not it has a meaning, but it seems rather tortuous in nature, I guess, and it makes it difficult for anybody to say, yeah, you know what, we are going nowhere. Can we please try to go somewhere? It's already annoying enough. I find it. Most people find it that way. Also, what the fuck? Uh, but I don't know, man. It shouldn't be that complicated. It's just a matter of do I really wanna do something that gives me no reward? Not in a sense of I am addicted to the necessity of having a reward. I like when I talk with my friend and he seems so lost in that world of, oh yeah, yeah, I can do these things because they give me some sort of reward. Like I can try to move myself in this one field just because it seems rewarding enough. I can try to do these things and I can try to construct this sort of routine that makes me feel satisfied because if something different were to present itself on his life, he will probably change it. He will probably not not in a sense of he would probably. He will change. If anything was different, he would change. But the comfort of at the very least already having something is in so many ways so much more dependable on, I guess. I don't think it's the proper term, but it's something that you can, at the very least, feel like it's yours, so you are more willing to not give up that than to maybe deal with. And now I have a completely new situation that I have to deal with, so it makes sense. I think so. It's sadly not just in the conversations that we have, in many ways, that's the reality of how things work. Being aware. It's yeah, there is this a line that I don't like. I have probably heard it too many times at this point. Awareness is the first step in solving the problem. No, no, that's not the case. Awareness is torture. Being aware of the problems that you have in so many ways makes it worse because it would be so much easier to simply create a plan that allows you to not do or to not have to confront the consequences as much than to simply solve the issue. In so many cases, the issue, even if it is something that you can fix, not saying that they are unfixable, even if the issue is something that you can fix, the path that you need to follow to make it work, to make it right, so to speak, is so strenuous that you rather remain in the place that you already are, at the very least. The other thing is something along the lines of the lesser of the evils, so something like that. The one that harms you the less is the one that you would prefer the most, since both paths are going to be painful. Why not at the very least pick something that you already know isn't going to be as damaging if both of them are going to be negative? So yeah, that's that's the common point in this case. Sadly, I don't know. I don't see it as an impossibility. Sadly, if there is something that happens, it's I quote unquote read. I have already talked about it here. I believe I am not somebody who really actively reads that much. I don't like the act of stopping just to process words. Uh, yeah, you don't learn as much if you listen to somebody else in many cases, but at the very least, I'm learning, even if I don't know, half a quarter of the stuff from listening. I would rather listen to the stuff that I need to go through than to read it. Also, I guess now that we're talking about so many things, probably it has to deal with the reality of, and there are some things, sadly, that as any human who tries to understand the stuff, in the process of doing so, you are confronted consistently enough with different things that make up what you assume is correct in many ways, and what you find to be a foundational part of your being or of your ways of being. So it's rather better to not have to dwell on the words that you are reading in any way than to have to confront that reality. I guess I am also a victim of the same shit that I was talking about. It's better to not read a book and have to go through those lines. You can't really, in both cases, you can't skip lines. You lose the pacing of what you're listening, but at the very least, in listening, you are less prone to the act of you read something that is, in many ways, impactful enough to make you stop. You cannot stop things as easily. It's about to stop things. And it's even more annoying to have not just to stop what you are hearing, but also to have to go back. There is something wonderful that happens in speech particularly. If you miss part of what is being said, or if you got a sentence in the middle, it becomes more complicated to follow what's next. Because sometimes you don't really keep everything that was being said before in your memory. You just separate innately what was being said before from what is being said now. So you need to actively be listening and actively go back and put together the whole sentence in those cases. So you will need to revisit what was being said. And not that it is completely impossible, but also if you were to skip some words ahead, or if you were to hear something that isn't being properly said, like, I don't know. Let me try to come up with something. If you're listening, you can understand the sentence because one thing is follow the other. But if listening, it's impossible to understand what's said because there are some parts that might missing in the creation that you are hearing. So you need to have the complete sentence created. You need to have something that is structurally correct to properly grasp the whole meaning of what you are receiving in that case. And in the case of skipping back and forth, it happens so much more because you are unintentionally altering and not placing yourself in a place in which the sentence is properly being constructed. So you end up having to suffer a lot more of the, oh wow, I heard something that shook me. So I have to pause, I have to take a second, think about it, leave. And when I come back, not only do I need to continue listening, I need to continue back from where I was a little bit to remember to get the whole meaning of what was being said. And from there on, I can finally continue. It's a lot more annoying and it's a lot less interesting than to simply pause and continue with your reading. And I mean, I don't know. On a more critical note, I guess, the act of reading also embeds a lot more the capacity to live. Yeah, we live in an era in which it is something that you can't negate. You have the possibility of simply standing up and living whenever you feel like doing so. You're not forced to hear anything. You're not here because you need to be here listening. So you can simply do it whenever you feel like it. You're not necessitated of listening, and something that requires so much attention like a reading is so much more annoying to do compared to once again listening. After you're going to listen to everything that you hear. If you have the the working hearing apparatus, you are going to hear whichever things create sound around you, you are going to hear them. Why? Because they're unavoidably going to make some type of noise that makes you pick up the vibrations in the air that you detect as sound. So you are going to hear them whether you like it or not. But reading is a lot more of an active exercise. You need to focus and you need to pay attention and follow and structure everything that you are seeing together and all of that. And it's more annoying. You don't have that much innateness when reading, even if it is something that you can certainly train. But the point was, anyway, it's better to hear stuff. And yeah, I was saying, why was I saying about hearing stuff and such? I think it was something along the lines of because there are so many things that you wanna hear, because there are so many things that one has to go through, the possibility for understanding what is it that you wanna go becomes more available. But in general, it's an annoying process. I don't think people would be willing. If I had to tell somebody, yeah, you will have to spend, I don't know, 1,000 hours thinking where is it that you wanna take up any kind of conversation, or 1,000 hours to minimally figure out where is it that you wanna go with the things that you do. Will people be willing to do it? I mean, more concrete examples, not just 1,000 hours. What's the word? Figurative number. No, concrete example. You're going to have to spend probably 3 4 weeks thinking about what you wanna do. What is it that you wanna do with your time? What is it that you are intending to do with your time? And that's not something that most people are willing to do. It's not an enjoyable task. So this whole discussion of yeah, I wanna go there, I wanna go here becomes annoying. It's it's an activity that in general we don't realize. In that sense, sadly, we don't we don't spend that much time measuring why is it that we do things that we do and we move ourselves towards the places that we do. I don't know. I am still trying to process a lot of things myself in terms of there are too many pseudo explanations for the things that we do in the way that we do them. But if you are not trying to learn out any of that, the reality is, at the very least, you just need to comprehend yourself. It should be the fundamental part, and sadly, we are losing that. I I like when I talk with people and I see, yeah, you have seriously no idea what's the point of what you're doing. We are standing here, you me trying to talk out something, but I can literally bring up anything, and you won't care. Not because it is impossible for you to care. It is because you don't even know what it is to care about anything, since everything seems so equal, and in so many ways that's the norm nowadays. I think so, but at the very least, it works for people in a certain way. At the very least, it allows you to not be so worried. So life seems easier. I don't know. It's never something that is made easier in that way. Sadly, I like it because we don't like to think about the consequences of things. You you're not sitting there convincing yourself that not doing anything about what you want will be useful. Even more in when you look back in, I don't know, 20 years or so, and find out that what you could have done that would have been interesting, fulfilling for you in any way, was a possibility for you all along, and you will feel altered that you're not acting in that way. Nobody's acting in that way. No person is seriously judging the things that they do in that way. It's it's an impossible thing to ask people to do it in that manner. So it makes sense that we are here now saying simply, oh yeah, yeah. It's so easier. Yeah, it's easier now. I mean, it's as easy as I don't know. You get a citation to pay a fine that you were given by your city hall, and you can ignore it, and one day the police is going to come knocking your door because you didn't pay it, but you don't have to do it at the very least for now. So you have that gratification and you have that fulfillment at the very least. At the very least, so it seems to be a better decision, but I don't know. We are not. I I like it because I keep going back to the same thing. We don't seem to be animals that are truly capable of grasping and stuff of that sort. So here we are, completely lost in that sense. We shouldn't be that aimless and that incapable of realizing, yeah, maybe if I were to take action in this one direction, things will be better or different or whatever. Maybe. But doing so, it doesn't defeat the point, it just takes more energy than what we are capable of giving it right now. So the other alternative seems better, seems at the very least that the consequences that will come with it are not something that we stop to think about most of the time, luckily enough. So yeah, at the very least, here we are. But I don't know. Anyway, it's I already said particularly yesterday. I like to be negative. I that's one of the things that I love the most. I like it the act of yeah negativity and nihilism and whatnot because it's easy to deal with that once you understand what the solutions are, but it doesn't really lead to that much when you're completely aimless in that sense. It's more complicated than to solve the issue if you don't have the tools in your hand. It doesn't feel that gratifying to hear somebody be completely negative if you don't know what's the solution to things is. So I don't think we're accomplishing that much here. When I simply sit here complaining about things, that's that's the that's the reality. I think so. Even if it means that I don't get to have as much pleasure, because that's the reality. Sadly, we can take some degree of negativity. Everybody can take some degree of negativity. Everybody knows another person who is, for some reason or another, completely negative. Yet we can accept them around us because, at the very least, they have this one strength and this one capacity, at the very least. But in general, there are some sorts of negative ideas that are impossible to deal with if you have never encountered them before. So better to avoid them. Uh, I guess better to not focus on those things at all. Anyway, let me, let me try to drink some water. I have been dying since I was born. I have been dying. That's the reality. But I have been sick for I don't know, like a week already. So I should be hydrating more, but I don't do it. So anyway, uh, giving me. So anyway, the question should be, what's the, now? Where are we moving towards? Where are we going? What's the direction of things? And I don't know. I like it pretty much. I find it interesting that in so many ways things are always happening. Let's say it in this way to not be so negative. Things are always happening. So the more you believe that you don't have the necessity to act on anything, the more you are going to be confronted with the reality of, perhaps I should be trying at the very least to be a participant in this area of life, so to speak. If I were to completely negate the possibility of being an individual involved in any part of the puzzle that is called life, I might as well be hurting myself, and I might as well be negatively affecting the results that I am wishing for. But it doesn't seem so easy to be so harsh with what we can say is our own vision. So it's better to remain safe in that sense, remain ignorant of the things. Yeah, I will say I like it. It certainly should be taken with sarcasm. I like it when people are completely incapable of being honest with themselves. When when the human doesn't realize that, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be completely oblivious to what I have going on around me. Maybe it's funny to see so many people living in so many ways in that exact same pattern. It's not that problems don't happen. It's that people don't simply want to do anything about what happens around them. That's the wonderfulness, and I don't know. It's sad. It doesn't truly mean that we gain anything if I say it like I do here. In most cases, at the very least, if you hear somebody say, "Yeah, we have things that we should be solving," you can minimally bring up the cases in which you mentally realized, "Yeah, I should be doing something for this issue." So you acted upon that, and you solved the issue at the very least. So you, on a personal level, are quote unquote fulfilled. But there are deeper issues, there are always deeper situations that should be in some way attended. And That's where the problem gets more complicated. We are willing a lot of the time to neglect the possibility or the position that we have in the world to do stuff. I already mentioned this yesterday. Mm, we cannot change the world in one day. It's nobody here listening this will have the possibility of doing that, basically. But at the very least, what we can do is the continuous accumulation of efforts that pays off in the end. That's what matters, and that's what at some point or another gets better. But here we are standing, we don't really have that much to do in any area of life, so to speak. We are simply standing around expecting stuff to move themselves towards the goals that we want. And if there are some annoying things that happen around us, that is when we finally feel like we should be moved towards acting. But in many other cases, where things are not yet enough disturbing for us, we don't see a point in doing so. So we can stay happy in that illusion of I wasn't meant to act. Maybe I wasn't going to solve the issue myself. So it would have been wiser to keep myself instead of uh, not minding my own business and getting into something that was more complicated to solve than what I could have ever said when I first saw it. So, therefore, I win. No, we we live in an era. I think so. That's the wonderful of this. Very slowly. I just say that I shouldn't be so negative, but I can't avoid it. It's the natural way in which I like to think about stuff. We are in an era in which we are having too many issues simply because people doesn't want to do shit. We're only going to get worse. That's how I see it. That's the reality I find it as. It's more and more the discussion of this isn't my problem, so I shouldn't be trying to deal with it. And I have seen it. I wasn't that much aware of it since like the past year or so, I think. Probably since a little bit after I started my between career, I finally heard that term, the, the denomination of highly sensitive people or person. That's the proper way of saying it. HIP, I think it is something like that. That sort of people are interesting because we have even constructed a new type of diagnosis for this. Humans who simply have empathy, enough empathy to feel like it's necessary to act when it is certainly useful to act. And we are saying now, oh yeah, you suffer from too much sensitivity. You are maybe being moved too much by your feelings. You shouldn't be that involved in stuff. We are slowly killing the human side of what is being human. It's the abandonment of the human quality that is besides thinking, or as a consequence of thinking, I would rather say, feeling, thinking what others feel, being capable of realizing, yeah, maybe if I am struggling and I see somebody else struggling in the very same position, I can try to do something. So I don't need to feel as bad as I do right now. But that's not the case right now. That's so far not the case. We don't need that. We will rather not have that. So I don't know, man. It's confusing in many ways. I think that's the only term that I can use that doesn't feel as insulting. It's confusing because we keep saying the future will be brighter and whatnot. And if you look forward, it doesn't really seem that way. We're slowly killing what makes a human be a human. When we focus so much on the necessity to not feel and to not be so distressed by what happens in the world and the need to be accustomed more and more to different, completely heart-wrecking situations that happen around you, and to generalize this sensitivity that is harbored towards everything, because even what seemed to be bad before is now being accepted as, oh yeah, maybe it's just a fetish, maybe it's just a sort of interesting way of acting, maybe it's just a sort of uh, I don't know, coping mechanism, whatever you wanna say, man. And I don't mean humans shouldn't need to be completely horrified. At the very least, they should be capable of realizing, yes, something is bad. Maybe I can try to make that thing which I see to be bad to not be as annoying, as negative. It's, I don't know, a general loss of agency, something like that. It takes too much energy to be someone who does anything, so it's better to simply accept that, yeah, this is what's going on in general. Therefore, I don't feel the necessity to do it. Also, welcome, Spike. Thank you for being here. Don't worry. ah, one message without 70V? on isn't on the 70V or Kino, so Kino. But yeah, uh, thank you for being here. Don't worry. Uh, I saw it today. I was like, wow, I should update the title. Yeah, we're at already 365. I thought it was going to take me so much more, so much less time. Certainly, being busy has been an annoying factor in that way. But at the very least, here we are. So yeah, thank you. But anyway, I don't know. I haven't probably for the last like 40 minutes or so. Uh, I should probably measure my bodily temperature. I think I am starting to get a little bit of fever. I have been talking for so long, and it feels like I have been here for like 5 minutes or so. So anyway, I was rambling about what about yeah, the loss of agency. That's what's going on. But yeah. Anyway, welcome. I hope you're well. That's what matters. Ah, but yeah, I don't know. At the very least, we have things that are nice. That's what matters. Even if we're losing what makes us be, and even if I don't know, I I don't think it's a nice proposition, but if you truly stop to think about it, it doesn't sound like something that you should even be considering as a possibility. We should be trying to work completely against this future, but it seems like in the future we are going to have it so much worse. What will be of the future generations is going to be so much more annoying than what is of us right now. So it's it's funny to see that at least we have it nice now. We didn't suffer as much. I remember that this is something interesting. I remember talking with a professor the other day. I on Monday, this same week on Monday, about child development, and he wrote something that I wasn't that aware about, I thought, not I thought, I had a certain type of hypothesis myself, based simply on the observation of children. But then he said it, and I did finally see a little bit more into it. Future generations, the ones that are being brought up right now, those kids, those infants, children, babies, that's the word, those babies who are being brought up now, those are having it so much worse than us. The, the way in which present day baby entertainment is being created literally fries their brains. I, 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 I simply thought it might have been like that. No, 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 no. It is already confirmed that it is like that. That it is an issue. And that we're starting to have a general diagnosis along the world of children with what is called ADHD. And I mean, it's even forcing so many revisions on what was the concept of ADHD based before it simply seemed to be an issue based on genetics and whatnot. But if now almost 80% of the children who grow up watching a screen seem to be having that problem, maybe it isn't that much of a genetical issue. If if it is going to be so prevalent on society as a general thing, maybe we had an incorrect way of diagnosing this issue. But the reality is, at least we didn't suffer from that. So we can quote unquote satisfy ourselves with saying, yeah, it's so much better. But I mean, I don't know. we we kinda have started to leave behind physical abuse as a sort of therapy or as a sort of way to that's the word, as a sort of tool for the upbringing of children, at the very least, compared to what was previous generations. But at the same time, I don't know, frying the kids' brain, that's what seems to be better. I I like the proposition of we're going to reach soon enough a point in which there will be no more an ever growing human population. We're going to see a dwindling decrease. Assuming that that's a lot of assumptions, man. There are a lot of places who have a lot of people. I yeah, I post that somewhere else. I should probably retrieve the video. Why am I content creator? Why can't I make up shit and expect people to believe what I say? Let me search for the video. But there is a video that talks about no, it has yeah, it has literally zero audio voices. It's only text that shows how much people live in certain places, and this is what I'm trying to say. With information like this one, it should be more telling that we are not indeed doing that much better, man. We have many issues. We have many things to still try and solve. This one, thank you. This guy or this video shows there are places which I'm pretty sure, and not in a derogatory way, they don't have access to internet, brother. They don't have access to all the information that we do. Are you sure that they are not going to bring up as many people as we do? I don't know, man. I don't think so. But anyway, we can convince ourselves to some degree that population is going to start decreasing in the world, and that only people who are going to be capable actively of bringing up children are going to take the decision instead of every single person that wants to do it on a whim will find themselves to have a kid. But that's also something inhuman to talk about because you cannot negate the possibility of bringing a life to this world to anybody. That's a human right, you know? So you cannot say to somebody that no, you know nothing about how you bring up a children. You haven't even done a bit of not academical research of reading on what is it that you're going to do. You want a simile? You want a comparison? You don't play a video game without having fiercely played the tutorial. You wanna have a children without even paying attention to what is the act of bringing up one? Are you sure that's the right decision? And we cannot protest against that? I guess so, man. But anyway, the point was, at the very least in the present, we don't have to deal with that problem. So we seem to be happy. We seem to be doing well because of it, you know? We we have the illusion of satisfaction. It means if things keep the same shape that they keep looking in the same shape that they are doing so far, the future looks grim, but we don't need to look to think about the future in that sense. So at the very least, it's better to not worry about those possible consequences. That's also something wonderful about this sort of general discussion. It's never a certain consequence. It's not something I don't know. We never talked about uh, lead poisoning as a certain consequence. It is a possible consequence. We had people working with lead for so long, and we never openly accepted that it was something that was going for sure to bring a consequence onto the table. We simply say it might have a negative consequence, and it might be something bad. That's more interesting or more acceptable, it seems, than to say, yeah, we are kinda screwy. We are kinda taking the wrong decision, man. We are kinda going in the wrong direction. But we cannot say that. We don't have the right to say that. The world is a wonderful place, and nobody is wrong, no matter how much incorrect things they are doing. They are not wrong. Uh, that's how things work nowadays. And I mean, I don't know. I think probably trying to move on from there. One second, I already said like 3 4 times already today. I shouldn't be so negative. Uh, it makes sense. What I can truly say is it makes sense. Certainly, education, the capacity to read stuff is something that we're losing. I I say it myself. I am not an example of somebody who reads. I don't read. I hear stuff. I don't read it. I don't have the patience, nor the time, nor the interest to actively read something. I had I have had in my nightstand, I think it is called, something like that. Uh, the, 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 the little table that I have close to my bed. There. Ah, yeah, nightstand, sorry. I am 2 years old. I have had on my nightstand for the past year already a book. I don't wanna read it. I don't wanna read it. I know I will probably never read it. I have moved through books that isn't that one for I don't know how long. But I mean that's the general situation of many things. And that's what I like so much. The possibility of doing something for the mind is more satisfying than the reality of doing it. So you can always, I could always continue to work. I could always do it. I could always move forward with that. But I know I won't. It's harder to say that I know because it doesn't mean that I know. It doesn't truly constitute a knowing that I say that I know that I won't do it. It's very much the same. It's the similar thing with close relationships that we used to have with people, or yeah, those supposedly thing, certainly close relationships that we do have with people. We could always try to arrange something. I could always try to hit up a friend and try to see if we're going to get together one day, if we're going to go out, if I don't know. The, it shouldn't just be in itself the medium that I'm talking about. It's the general idea of, yeah, it could always happen. So I don't need to worry about it. I could always, whenever I feel like doing it, I could do it. But there is always the constant nagging feeling of I should do it, which one decides to ignore. It's not that I don't feel like reading the book, I will kill to read that book. It's one of the most interesting things that I have read in so long, and I simply don't do it because it takes too much active energy. It's easier to live a life that doesn't need so much conscious decision and the will from me. It's better to do what I had been told I should be doing than to be capable of deciding for myself. That's the problem in this case. How can I bother somebody who I know for so long to try and organize something, anything, whichever thing it is? If I know that it will take too much energy, why would I try to do it? I can have a million different videos. I saw it with a friend. He has 1,000 long watch later videos saved. I can always watch later something. Does it mean that I will do it? No, I for sure will never watch it. But I could. It's the satisfaction of the possibility of knowing that one day you could do it. I don't know, man. We didn't get to the moon because people said we could. It is because we tried actively to do it, you know? It's in that way that too many things work, and it's the same thing with reading. We have too many books that should everyone read. Yes. Will they do it? No. Why? Because they could always do it. There is no need to do it. If you could always do it, if you can always leave it for later, and I don't know. That's more of a personal obsession. I is there anything that I have said that isn't like that? But the reality of we have too many things that we should be doing that we don't do. It's not going to change. It's not going to change, man. We are slowly drifting more and more far away into that reality of the never happening society, if you wanna give it a name, or the world of the if, or when I feel like doing it, things will happen. I don't think so, but okay, we are at the least not being constantly confronted by things if we can always leave them for later. The sense of urgency that you create makes you feel worse, so it's better to avoid it than to deal with the annoyance of acting for 1 second anywhere. And in that way, you let 1,000 things never happen. But also, if they never happen, you can dispose of the responsibility of saying that they never happen. That's also the wonderful side of that. But the day that I finally felt like doing it, now things have started to work against me. No, man. You had 1,000 opportunities to set up stuff. You know? We had 1,000 days, a million hours to do the things that we wanted. Yet here we are standing doing nothing. nothing that feels fulfilling or nothing that you find entertaining, because acting seems so much more complicated than what it truly is. You cannot, I don't know, you cannot drive a car by simply seeing how it is done. You need to learn the process of doing it. And once you get accustomed to the act of doing it, it is that you enter an automatic mode. But by simply seeing how others do the stuff, you never get anywhere. Yet we like so little to discuss any of those things nowadays. It's a completely empty discussion in so many ways. There is nothing that we truly say or do that feels refreshing in that aspect. It's the always eternal project of things that will come later on that might be nice, that might be in some way interesting. But I don't know, man. It's the same thing. I am. I like that. I have said it 1,000 times already. I never say anything new. I'm not saying anything that is new whatsoever. It's just the reality of things, man. And we could live so much of a better life if things were done in any way. Yet the simple reality of doing seems so complicated, so much more complicated than what it truly is. That's the point. Not that it is complicated because we see it as complicated. No, 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 no. There is. We haven't explained so far. We live present day. We still haven't given people the proper message about things that you perceive with your mind might not be what they look in the reality. Uh, that's commonly known phrase found in the mirrors of the cars, which says images seen in this mirror might seem bigger than what they are in reality, or might seem closer than what they are. Okay, the same thing with the mental aspect that you create of something. A problem is intensified 1,000 times in some cases. Yet here we are. We cannot say that because now you're giving people too much freedom. You're giving people too much hope. Things are not so simple. Yes, they are, man. They are. Indeed, they are. Indeed, the world is not such a scary place, man. You don't talk with people and see them being angry because they can't do anything, because everything seems dangerous, everything seems impossible to do, everything seems in some way something that if they were to try, they will certainly fail. You don't see that? You wanna tell me that you don't see that? That that's not the case? I don't know. But anyway, anyway, because now that wasn't funny anger, that was a real anger. So let me try to stop for a second. And yeah, while stopping, I will drink some water. Thank you. Anyway, at the very least, we have a life, I guess. Even if, even if life seems so hard to find in any way, we have it. So that's something, I guess. We have something that we cannot explain, something that cannot be told by anyone to you. You cannot be given a meaning of life. That's the wrong thing to do. If you are to receive the meaning of life by someone else, you are getting something that is not yours, and you are getting somewhere that is not where you wanna go. So we cannot do that. We need to have the constant crisis of people wanting to know what's the point of their existence. And we need to have 1,000 different possible explanations, even when we know that some of them might be wrong. Because acting upon that makes it a less free world. And what was it? Something along the lines of freedom makes you uglier, so something like that? No, man. Freedom makes you more frightened. Don't you see it? Don't you see the world? Don't you see people who are incapable of doing anything because they are so free that everything is a burden at that point? I don't know, man. It's so interesting to see people. We supposedly, we are adults. We are not adults. That definition, I already said it before, I think. I hope I say it before this one. We should have a revision that shit years ago, decades ago. I Not because I don't wanna deal with the responsibility of being called an adult. No, because nobody should deal with the consequences of me trying to act as an adult when I am not one. When I am, I don't know, still an adolescent in many ways, man. People of my age, people of up to 25 shouldn't be considered adults. They are not in any way capable of handling so many situations of the real world. And you wanna give them so much responsibility? Are you sure about that? I don't know, man. It's the necessity to make things happen so fast. The instantaneousness that needs to exist within the world now. Is that entertaining? No, man. It isn't. It shouldn't be. It never was, and it shouldn't be seen as something like that. Yet here we are standing in a constant discussion about yeah, we are the people who has any power. Are we? We are fucking kids, man. We have I don't know. I like when people don't understand that it isn't an exaggeration. You have 30 years old. What are you going to change? You can't even help your family and you wanna change the world, man. Are you trying to tell me that seriously? What are we doing here? Calling people like that an adult? Hmm? What's the goal of creating something that so arbitrarily makes you be different? That fantastic reality, it's the most funny joke in the world. Oh wow, yeah. You cannot touch somebody who has 17 years old. But the moment they have 18, they are an adult. They automatically have 18 years, they are the most clever person in the world to be an adult. No, man, doesn't work like that. And sadly, I love the educational system that we have, but you cannot say that it works. You cannot say that somebody who lives that is now somebody prepared to face the world. No, it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't work like that. And we're not making it a reality by saying, oh yeah, people like that is an adult. What's the point? What are we accomplishing like that? Hmm? But I don't know, man. It's better to spend time still doing something else. Why would you worry about the world if you quote unquote can't change it? That's the common point of this course, I guess. I I like seeing people who says in so many ways, yeah, things are wrong, but I personally cannot change them. Are we sure about that? I don't see people working to try and solve those issues. I don't see even one nation trying to arrange things in a different way. I see at best one person who does it half-assedly, and oh wow, I cannot believe it. I didn't say it in the nicest terms. I'm sorry, man. But we don't have the heart on those things. That's a much. Do you wanna tell me that somebody who can barely do it for a couple of hours is truly interested in change? I don't think so, man. But it's better to believe that things won't change than to realize, yeah, they could be different. I could be an agent of change if I were to take action. It's once again, I already said in a different tone before. It's better to not think out the consequences of the things that you do, even worse of the things that you don't do, than to realize that in some way things could change, Even the most basic level, the most stupid level, if you wanna say it like that, things could be better. I could have a better, at least subjectively personal life if I were to change some things around me. Don't need to think about that. There is no need for those thoughts if they take so much energy in any way. So, here we are. Nothing seems to be valuable in any way. So, we only gather around that and we clap at the person who says it for the thousandth time. Anyway, I don't know. At this point, I feel like I am starting to truly get a fucking fever. Uh, no, probably not. Probably not. It's just I don't feel. I like it. Do I believe in God? I mean, it depends. I I certainly am not being original. I would like a more original response. I haven't really given that much thought to it, but there is something along the lines of what Young said. Of I don't believe. I have in a certain way already experienced something like that, but at the same time I don't consider myself also somebody who is actively a Christian. If you say, "Are you a Christian?" No, I'm not. I don't like the Christian that any religion. I don't like it. If it's complicated once again. There are things that I can see as usual that I cannot deny to you. It's wonderful to have the possibility of thinking about something that can ensure to you happiness. It's a magnificent thing. In a certain way, hope in any form is useful. But if we are referring to whichever tradition we are trying to say, no. Sadly, no. I don't think we have properly come up with something good enough. For different reasons. I mean, I don't know. I like it because I have talked with people. I, yeah, I have talked, I have seen, I have read, I have been in a lot of stuff that deals with discussions about different ways of portraying, be it the God, the Christian, or the what is it, the Mormonic God, or the conceptions of God, the Trinity, and all of that, or also anything that is related to the different polytheistic traditions, all of that also. But they, even if they are to some degree interesting, the moment in which somebody talks about them, they stop being that good. The moment in which we like to alter the rules, they stop being that nice. It's let me try to tie it with everything that I have said before. We don't like to think about the consequences of, at the very least, I don't know, the Bible has 10 commandments. Maybe if we ignore one of them, we're going to be doing a great job. No, man. Maybe you need to stop for a second and see what are you doing. Maybe you need to stop for one instant of your life and see there are 1,000 different rules that you might follow. And some of them are not that useful also. There are 1,000 different things that you are doing. And some of them exist for a certain reason, brother. I don't know. I am a person of faith. I guess will be a different thing, a different question. I'm not. I cannot have faith in that stuff. I don't like. Controversial statement by the guy who has been angry for the past hour or so. I don't like when other people gets their hand on that stuff, sadly. But At the very same time, it isn't like I don't believe. I guess I don't know. I have I am Muslim. Interesting. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. ah, that's as much as I can say. Uh, but yeah, it's interesting. You know, it never stops being interesting. That's what I can tell you. I I remember. I know it's like very selfish. I remember having read from who was it? I think it was Kant from the ontological problem and all of that, and it doesn't truly defeat God in any way. If you go for the philosophical argument of oh no, yeah, you talk about philosophy, how can you say that God exists? I don't know, man. On the other hand, also I have read Descartes, and no, I don't agree with the view of oh yeah, what is it? The third rule or something like that. His third cognition, I don't remember how he calls them exactly. That God is just because he is a possibility. No, also that doesn't explain it, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. I guess there's also another argument. For you to deny the existence of an infinite being on an infinite universe, you will also need to be an infinite existence to be capable of knowing everything that exists in the infinity of the universe. I don't think so, man. We are not the light to measure the light in a certain way. Also, Ivan Sina, it resounds with me. Let me touch on that. I think it's the. If I'm not wrong, I might be. Don't believe me. Let me set for it. What? Yeah. I remember this guy. Yeah. I read about him. Yeah. He was very interesting. Yeah. Him, Al Ghazali. Yeah. Those people were truly. I hope some days that they probably get picked up with more intention, with more with more focus on what they said. I like how the West completely abandoned that knowledge. It isn't like they don't even have anything written, but yeah. I not actively read. We don't have that many things translated. We only have the direct, what is it, the expositions or the direct revisions of what he said in many cases. So I haven't properly read him, but yeah. I have read what people who read him say about his statements and such. And even if certainly there is a lot of this is argument, self, yeah. I think that's one of the issues of the ontological argument and such that I will need to search out on that. I One of the many issues of reading personally, I don't know names. I don't remember names. I think it was Thomas Kant that dealt with that. Uh, Let me. No, Immanuel Kant, right? Thomas Kant. Who the fuck is Thomas Kant? Uh, yeah, his ontological argument and whatnot. That he basically argues God cannot be because the argument makes it an unavoidable reality. It only makes any any kind of valuable thing be just because. Do I like it? I find it interesting, but once again, it's the issue of you're making it an impossible clause in the way in which you are constructing your universe of ideas. It's something along the lines of if you encapsulate yourself inside of a view which makes something be presupposed and you cannot in any way negate said existence to keep everything else, the moment in which something that might prove you wrong is brought forward, everything else that you are constructing makes it invalid. In this case, it's a sort of construction that doesn't directly address the issue of God as a given reality, but when you construct an argument and you make something a completely unavoidable part of it, you're making it impossible to argue against it. It's certainly not a complete argument. Also, it doesn't mean once again in this case, it doesn't justify that God isn't, but it tries to at the very least showcase the point of, can I truly say something that makes it not be? It's simply something that is. If I try to say that it cannot be, you have 1,000 different tools in your arsenal to go against it in a certain way. But yeah, I did like Avicenna or Ivan Sina as you wrote it. Because he and his group did propose a lot of stuff. But even Rush, I think it was the other guy. I like how I am somebody who's adept with names. Let me Edge. Microsoft Edge. What's the name of this guy? Ivan Rush. Is this the guy? It's easier on, yeah. Ivan Rushed. It's written as this guy. I don't remember exactly his argument. That guy is also interesting. He's I think directly one of the guys who talks or discusses stuff with Avicenna, basically, or Ivan Sina. I don't know if it is. How do you even properly read it? But yeah, that guy is also interesting. He does discuss properly the argument in a certain way. I mean, I don't know. Philosophy, something that I don't like about it. People likes to construct systems that completely avoid the capacity of criticizing them later on. I mean, once again, you are making something an irremovable object in the way in which you are creating your proposition. It's interesting, but it needs still to be moved. Philosophy isn't completely solid science in that sense. You should be capable of playing more with thoughts. What would be a universe in which something doesn't have any kind of order? That's the better kind of explanation. How is it that if we were to have no explanation, what is it? conscious design or something like that, or the I did I close the browser? Fuck. Why? Anyway, the argument in which things had a designer behind them, that one seems better to me than the one in which you make the goal itself an unavoidable reality, you know? But still, it doesn't convince me. It doesn't convince me, sorry. Uh, I don't know. I think on that topic, we still have to find something interesting that allows for, I don't know, God to be more experienceable by everyone. Let's say it like that. I think I'm suddenly in that very same line of thought of, yeah, I can argue about it in a thousand different ways. I can argue against, I can argue towards, but I haven't experienced God directly myself in a completely direct way. I am not what is it? Something along the lines of God, show me a sign, and I will then follow you for the rest of my days. Or probably not even paraphrasing the Bible because I didn't read it on English. But what I remember from what it said on Spanish. But yeah, basically that. Proof. Proof is what makes it better. Un unequivocal proof is what makes it better. But yeah, it makes sense. I I don't think it's bad. I mean, I, we're talking about philosophy. I like it when people say something is shit because you are showing it's stupid to continue arguing with human. You cannot insult something like that unless a very specific context is given. You don't insult ideas like that. I don't think God is an impossible. I am not sure it is a complete reality also. But anyway, I don't know. Do we need God? That's the real question. Do we need something that can be in any way make the people act in a better manner? Perhaps we do, but we don't have that right now. So I don't know. I also need $1 million. It doesn't mean that I will have it. Probably not the best example. Being selfish is bad, you know. Uh, I don't know. It was a very useful diversion from what I was saying before. I was starting to go completely crazy. Ah, we need to go, so we go to heaven instead of hell. I don't know. The discussion is, I like that line of hell is others. It isn't completely true. Heaven can also be found in other people, but completely avoiding this world and completely avoiding the importance that you can have in this place seems kind of insulting. I, if there is something, okay, I don't even know what I'm going exactly with the attack, but something along the lines of the way in which many religions make you be is only capable of surviving a very limited set of conditions. You're not being created to be capable of helping the world itself. You're only allowing the balance to be sustained and nothing else. That shouldn't be, or I'm pretty sure that isn't the vision of a proper God. If you want everyone to be happy, not only you are going to ensure that everyone is happy now, or in the future, you are also going to try and ensure that people is happy now. I I can agree, sadly, that as a consequence of seeing that there is an afterlife in which things are going to be better, you can neglect the reality of those who are in a worse condition. But that is not a true justification for abandoning others. That is just a selfish way of saying, yeah, I don't feel like I should be helping you. I don't have that much energy. My one of the common arguments. My God is happy with me not doing anything bad. So, as long as I am not doing anything bad, I am not forced to be the most outgiving person out there. I supposedly, my God doesn't ask that of me, so I can be free without any weight of consciousness. No, man, that is also wrong. Uh, we should also be more helpful. We lack enough helpfulness. The world will be more useful if everybody was actively trying to do their best, not just enough to not get condemned or something like that. That's in that sense my position. The, if you're only doing the good things because you fear going to hell, I don't think you're doing the good things. It's that's the common notion of you're only avoiding the consequences of your actions. You're not doing anything because you feel like you're going to do it the same way. If you only feel like doing the correct things in society because you feel the consequences that will come with it, and the moment in which you are placed in a different land in which the rules are indeed different, you are allowed to do whichever thing you want. No, man. You were only wanting to do something, but fear the consequences. That doesn't work like that. Sadly, your consciousness shouldn't be something that you ignore so much in that way. But yeah, I don't know. Thank you. But yeah, I was trying to say, mentally, I don't know. I was starting to lose it. I don't even know what I was saying. I talked too much shit. Sadly, I said too many things. I was starting to go crazy about being negative once again. So yeah, thank you for the intervention about the anti-arguments and such. That's interesting. I I like it. I think it's to a certain degree something that the human always can recur to when it comes to thinking. It is refreshing to think about something that should be impossible to picture in your mind in a certain way. So yeah, uh, I don't know. Give me probably like 1 or 2 minutes. I should be that stage. If I were to flip a coin, I would like to continue. So yeah, that's the reality. Let me take a break. 1 second. I need to terminology of the place. Idle break. That's what's happening. Anyway, welcome. What happened? Nothing. What's up? Soup eaters? What? What is this guy saying? Is he losing it? Yeah, probably. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I like it. I talking about the religion. I still have to read everything that Thomas Aquinas has made. How much I am dodging that guy. I have to read Hegel. I have to read him. I have been avoiding them since the last year. I don't wanna do that. I don't want to deal with them. Dense philosophy makes my brain hard, very much. But fuck. No, I dropped the ball. Sorry. But yeah, I think philosophy is fine in that way. I. It's funny. Thinking is funny. Thinking doesn't truly kill. Thinking can be a tool in many ways. Yet we don't like to talk about that so much. It's cool to be so much more than what it is. Yet people fear so much thinking in a certain manner. Yeah, it can be distractful. No, man, it doesn't need to be like that. It is 1,000 times easier to deal with mental anguish than to deal with any kind of physical pain that obnubilates your actions, so to speak. I prefer that, actually. So yeah, reading is interesting, but it takes time. But I don't know, everything in the end takes time. Following tradition takes time. So yeah, I I have no idea. I guess this is like me standing here is more like me talking to the mirror, saying, yeah, tomorrow you're going to read. I am indeed. I am still reading stuff. I mean, I am continuing with a new guy that I not a new guy, with a guy that I always liked. I ever since I heard the first book about him, I found him incredibly interesting. I like how we tend to ignore people in a certain way. I'm somebody who gets angry because I don't like the idea of we should properly give people credit. I don't like the part of giving so much credit to people, but on the other one, I don't like that the person I personally found interesting died in complete poverty almost because he wasn't given as much credit. Some famousness is fine. Some degree of payback is good. I wish Adler had some more luck in that way. The stuff that he has written, even if in some way certainly he's wrong. Why is the guy so obsessed with fucking tarot and shit like that? Even if stuff like that is wrong, he still has some useful contributions. And I hate the most that not only it exists, but it is being taken advantage of. But anyway, reading, I have to continue reading. Everybody should continue reading. That's the reality. I don't know. I keep seeing that. The more I get to be with people, the more I see. Yeah. I have my book and I have my novel and I have my history. No, not history. My series to watch. I have my movies to watch. But we're losing more and more to the certainly subjective critic proper reading. We don't have anything that truly makes you think that much more, being mainstream in many ways. But I don't know. At the same time, when something becomes mainstream, everybody out of nowhere is a professional capable of criticizing it, so better to not have anything of that sort be mainstream. After all, we are all so good at dealing with arguments, it seems. We are all trained to debate on everything, so we are all very fine, I suppose. I don't know. Uh, but yeah, I. That's the situation, that's the current situation of the world. Patata, Merly, hace como un año que no te veo. Good evening, Merly. Welcome. No, I said like 1 year that I haven't seen you. No, it's a lie. It has been a lot less. I remember once in the Discord once for a random occasion. You appeared, so welcome back, Nolly. I I have seen you. I hope you're well, and no problem. Everybody has work. Everybody has things to do, so it's fine. As long as you are alive, it's fine. I guess. But welcome, man. Also, I don't. Let me. There is a button literally called clip that. What the fuck? Maybe in July. Ah, yeah, nice, nice. I was going to say I have seen you around saying that you wanted to come back, but I still don't know when you were going to come back. But nice to hear you. Yeah? Where's the music? It's we replace that. People get angry when the music plays for so long. So yeah, it's a game now. Let me activate it. Ah yeah, but I have to mute the clock. There we go. There we go. It shouldn't be loud, I think so. Okay, there it is. A little bit louder because I have the relief at the same volume and I wasn't hearing it most of the time. So yeah, there we go. Oh my god! I touched the cable of my fucking keyboard. No, it works, Kino. Anyway, yeah. Basically, people hate soul. People hate when things are nice. We cannot have the guitar anymore. Before people starts losing it, man. This is so over. But yeah. Anyway, I hope you can make. I hope you can get alive to July. I not in. Oh, something bad will happen, but the unexpected events can always happen. So I hope you can get there, and you do come back when July comes around. I guess I don't know. It's a more of face-to-face interaction, so it should be fine to say it. Melly, please tell people that you want to come back. What's the word? Move around. Make yourself apparent to other people. I personally, and I think I'm not just speaking personally, but personally at the very least, I will obviously enjoy to have you around for stuff. So yeah, make yourself known yet again. No problem. What's a wonderful thing to see the tiny magician appear. But yeah. Welcome back to the chewing world, I guess. As a potato, I say that. Thank you. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't disappear. No, yeah. I mean, I don't think most people has to abandon the things that they love because they just don't want to do it anymore. It's certainly the pressures of life take you away, but I don't know. Give me a second. There are many ways in which we can keep working on improving on those things which we enjoy. And sometimes we allow too much the excuse that is procrastination to take place, instead of doing what we find as useful or enjoyable. So don't let that excuse take a hold of you also. Work on what you like. You liked, at least that's what it felt like be doing. So work on that, man. It's work that you enjoy is never a work. It was in a certain way. So yeah, no problem that you were busy. Everyone is busy. I mean, I'm literally not one of the busiest. No, that's a lie. I'm somebody who is busy also. So it happens. It just happens. But don't give up on dreams because of the day-to-day things that you must do in any way. That's the reality, I guess. But yeah, what a what a nice thing. Also, I went. What's up with and why does Twitch for the phone break so much, man? Can it work? Can you? Okay, let me refresh the page. I haven't been streaming almost for 2 hours. What the fuck am I doing? Why haven't I been going for so long? Incredibly crazy. Uh, Also, yeah, it happens. It just happens. But as long as you can come back, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, from a personal perspective, I think pretty much I understand why people who are older chose to become VTubers now that they are older indeed, and I will have probably done the same. I I think I shouldn't completely disappear. It is kind of disrespectful, but I envy the people who has so much free time to do it wholeheartedly, so to speak. It's it's something interesting, but it requires so much time that you believe you have. You don't. You end up realizing you don't. What I have been up to? I have been incredibly busy with studying too much. Finally gone into school last year. So yeah, these last 2 years having me potato gets a degree. That's the current arc, I guess. But I someday it will finish. And the worst thing, I guess, I have already delayed in my studies 1 year, so it will probably take me like 6 years. This is painful, but anyway, yeah, going to school. That's what's up with me and learning, and I don't know. I think understanding stuff, understanding what one wants to do. That's the most important thing that happened this whole time. Ever since I started, I was too willy nilly, so to speak. So now, properly focused on anything feels so much better than before. So yeah, been up to a lot, but still happy that focusing finally in things that I like happened. So here we are. Not even in my proper time slot, but here we are. Yeah. It's good. It's good. It's nice. It's nice. It's something. So it's better than nothing. Also, 5 minutes passed. So I gonna stop the guitar. I can I? Yeah. Shouldn't I try to like make it a tower or something like that? Do not have to deal with actively switching the guitar? Probably. Will I? No. Anyway, here we are. Uh, so I don't know. I have like a I haven't been here for so long. What it feels like so long, and I was waiting. The reality is, I was waiting for a call. I should probably wait until I get the call before leaving. That's. It was nice to hear it. To hear it again after a long time. Yeah. It was well. I like it myself. I think at this point certainly something that I don't like. You start to associate songs that you used to like before just because they were songs with things. It started to become a song that I associate with VTubing. So I don't like that, but I like to hear it. And certainly I hear it while we are here. So it's an enjoyable thing. But in many other cases, it has happened. Songs which I used to like just because they were songs. It's not more, no more the case. Anyway, um, it feels nice. It does feel nice. But yeah, uh, confidence is a good thing. Also, I'm dropping frames. What are you talking about, man? I dropped 300 frames. Okay, I guess. Anyway, um, since I don't have anything else to say, I was based on the same guy. Today, no, yesterday, I mentioned something. I mentioned that I can probably link him. Can I? Should I? Yeah, I should. Uh, maybe I don't have the link anymore. No, I think it is this one. I think, I guess. Let me test. Based on the memory that I have, it should be the same link. Is it? The fuck is this? Ah, no, this is an app. Thank you. Yeah. How to philosophy? That guy, exactly that guy. That guy is said something that is true. Philosophy as a medium doesn't have the highlight of being highly produced, but that's not the point. So I can sleep more comfortably after hearing that. Is what a wonderful thing to see that we don't need to have like a thousand scenes, a thousand pew pew and the flashing lights and whatnot. But I don't know, probably this medium is still crazy for philosophy, but it doesn't mean that it can't happen. So it's it's just that. It doesn't need to have. The point is not the production of the thing. Sadly, I guess probably, yeah, probably. If it were to be more produced, it would be more acceptable by everyone. Sadly, it isn't. And as long as that doesn't change, it will still remain a niche in a certain manner. It won't be something that everyone can enjoy because philosophy still keeps shielding itself behind the veil of, oh wow, yeah, the point is not the production. Yeah, it should be the production, man. But so far it isn't so. Please accept my what's the word? My latest apologies for the issues caused by having no no production. It's, ah, but that's how we do it. That's how we quote unquote route. What? That's how we roll. Thank you. Anyway, I don't know. I once again, I don't wanna say anything. I did a stream finally 2 days in a row. Probably tomorrow. At some point, I will stream. Probably. I mean, yeah. Besides Tevar, we have Tevar. What really matters is having soul. Yeah, I mean, what matters is having fun more than anything else. So that's what matters, having fun. And certainly it is something fun. I keep saying it. People, probably somebody who comes here for the first time, even more lately, and hears me thinks that I'm having like a psychotic episode, but it's one of the funniest thing for me. It's refreshing to end a stream. The possibility of getting to talk about anything and doing so is wonderful for me. So that's all the soul that I need. If we can define it as soul, I guess. But yeah, um, was on. Yeah, 2 days in a row. Probably tomorrow also. Besides the bar, probably I don't know. I am quote unquote sick. I don't even know. Uh, yeah, no problem, no problem. Go eat something, man. Go enjoy a nutritious dinner. Have a good one, and thank you for coming. And thank you for returning. That's the reality. Thank you for returning. Uh, yeah, that sounds bad, but I hope more people returned. I wish more people did. I Seeing people is one of the worst parts of being I do. Anyway, at the very least, they didn't die. So, that, but yeah, the point is, thank you. And have a good one, But yeah, we are at this point. I'm going to keep waiting on the call that I was expecting since earlier. So we're going to be stuck here until that happens. The point is, at some point, I will have to write someone. I guess. I don't know. I personally speaking, I don't write. It feels disrespectful because it is. It should be something more. Yeah, we are not professionals here. I shouldn't be talking about it, but it should have more of an incentive behind it. The action of riding. Yet you don't really get that much. I mean, how much is it? 450, 350 points for riding as the person who is viewing? Is that a reward? No, I don't think so, man. I can get that in like half an hour or less of watching. But at the very least, there is something to say that you did the raid or that you gained and something for it. But it should be more recommended. I think so, man. But anyway, the point is that I guess when I have to be, we will try. Until then, I will remain here and like the guy that I am, talking to the complete void in the sense of just saying too many things to properly even remember what was the first thing that I said. I I don't know. I don't think the possessing a proper structure will change anything in that sense. It doesn't make it better that you try to organize things and whatnot. At least not in this context. The organization and whatnot doesn't make it more enjoyable. It only makes it simpler for you to experience as the person who is streaming. But if you are not even paying any kind of attention to what you are doing, and you are trying to maximize the efficiency of everything, are you truly enjoying the act of doing it? I mean, not to be a contrarian. On the other hand, this argument of, oh yeah, but you should let people enjoy the things that they find enjoyable. They have the right to do whatever they want with their toy once it is in their hand. They should be capable of destroying it if it is that they feel like doing that. You shouldn't be dictating what they do and what not. I don't know, man. Do I really want that? Is it truly fine to not be so involved in what you're doing? To say, yeah, you know what? You enjoy paying no attention almost. That's fine. I don't know, man. Uh, Pretty much, it returns to the argument of gatekeeping, basically. Sometimes gatekeeping is cool. I think so. Sometimes, not everything is for everyone. Um, I think it it had a meaning. At some point, it had a meaning. The line that the guy said from The Incredibles, when everybody is super, nobody is. But thankfully enough, we couldn't stay still, and we had to make it a meme. So now, if I say whenever, if everything is for everyone, nothing is, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel that much genuine. It doesn't have that much of an impact, thankfully. So we can sit here in complete relaxation, believing that what I said doesn't truly constitute that much of a message, I guess. But anyway, that's not the point. I feel like so. Yeah, at least getting back in the action of doing this. That's enough. That's enough of a reward in a certain way. I mean, yeah, I don't even think about it like that, or I haven't thought about it like that. But it's pretty much is rewarding the experience of getting to here in that sense. I guess actively, not actively thinking about it in that way makes it worse. After all, it's something enjoyable, and I said when Burley was here, it's something that you can enjoy and you can find interesting and whatnot. It's really something certainly then persecuted more with intention, but I don't know, man. Sometimes being so aware of your own free will only makes it worse in a certain manner. Only makes it a more a more painful thing because the is that you fail. You are being made more aware of how much you are not doing the things that you enjoy. And when you know that you love something and you are being confronted by the reality of how much you are not doing the thing which you say that you love, you're also having to deal with the issue of, but can I truly say that I love that one thing if I cannot give it my 100% to have that happen as much as I want to? So that's why, in this case, it's better to say no. Yeah, this is just an entertainment, than to say yeah, this is something fulfilling. So it remains in that limbo for many people. I think so. But yeah, that's the point. Probably, I love if there is something that I love is sitting here talking. So yeah, probably that will happen more. I think so. I mean, yeah, I haven't. I kinda tried to talk about it with with somebody else before, but I don't really try to mention it that much this whole year. Has to a certain extent been so pointless. I have to go to classes and whatnot because I did fail on passing some grades and all of that. But I should honestly be less busy, even more probably in the second quarter or the second half of the year. So we are probably having more time to be around this place. Now that I think about it, yeah. I mean, it's literally the first time that I realize I will have the second half of the year so much more free compared to this one. Uh, we are so fucking back, Umfi. Anyway, I don't know. We will see. We will try to see what happens here. That's the point. Uh, but yeah. Also, I think I finally got the message. Yeah, we are free. We are free to leave this place, or not that we are free. I am forced to leave. I I have to feel my compromise. Uh, I have to go do something. So now we have to end. Uh, yeah. Okay, yeah. That's it. I don't have that much more to say. I have to go. So as always, I guess thanks for being here. Also, can I use the raid function from inside Twitch? Do I need to set up somewhere to go? Am I obligated to do that? Please don't make me. Why? Why did this place recommend me completely random people a raid channel? Sort of by for you. There is a certain expression. Yeah, the more I beat around the worse it sounds, but it's something on the lines of what? What are you talking about? But yeah. Uh, Completely anyway. We are uh, we are done here. Also, no, I hate Twitch for phone. I cannot do that. I cannot simply. Why why is this platform so old yet so non-functional, man? I want to actively raid, but if I were to do it on phone, it won't let me know if it's right there or not. I need to find a different way to do it. Okay, let me see. I think I have a manner. I have found a way. I found it. I'm not as crazy as I thought. Let me. I have to refresh the page. Oh my god, why is this thing so hard to use? Man, you know what? If I cannot, I hate this so much. This is. I like to think about that. Somebody will try to go through everything that I said on stream, and they will find out that I said a lot of stuff. And one of those things will be that I struggle so much with streaming. No matter how much I had on here, I still struggle with that. So yeah, you know what? I cannot cue Ray. The chat doesn't work in the phone for some reason. What a fucking platform, man. What's so wrong with this shit, brother? Anyway, completely anyway. You know what? Have a good evening. Why can't it let me use the no. We are not done here. We are not done. We don't give up until we win. What was the speech? Something. It's not over until I win. If I get beaten, I rise from my seat. I don't feel like I've lost, even if I have nothing else going on. I am obliged to do it right. So I found a way to write. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to say. Uh, what a fucking platform, brother. Anyway, thank you for everything. Did I write right? Is it going to invalid username? What the fuck? Yeah. What? Invalid username? No? Okay, there we go. Thank you. How a good one. Sorry for everything. I hate this platform. How unresponsive it can be. Anyway, we are reading now. Have a good one. Please watch the. He's a. What dinosaur was he? Watch the dinosaur, brother. Watch the retro game that he was playing. Thank you. Good evening, good night, good morning. I don't know. Guten Morgen. Have a good one. Probably tomorrow I will also be existing like today. I don't know. Also, too much text, man. Shut the fuck up.